And of course, in your country, it seems to me that the propagandists of the EU project have played heavily on German guilt about the war. And they've been able to do this because it's true. I mean, my wife is German. She's from Hamburg, and she was brought up to feel guilty. But quite why, age 44, she should be responsible for anything that happened in the past, I've no idea. But that factor has been present. But of course it's changing, isn't it? A younger generation is coming through who have no knowledge, no contact with the events of the past whatsoever, and why on earth should they? I think Germany is getting over its war guilt, and I think Germany as a country is becoming quite popular and quite trendy again. When the World Cup football was on, my wife put a big German flag at the front of our house. I have to confess I put a big English flag on the front of the house as well. And I do want to have, I must emphasize, I do want to have good relations personally with Germany and the Germans, although I thought the English disallowed goal in the World Cup was an absolute disgrace, I have to say. And I haven't quite got over that. But no, I can see there's some hecklers at the back. I thought perhaps there might be. No, Germany's become popular again. Lena won the Eurovision Song Contest. We've got a German, Joseph Ratzinger, as the Pope. I think that somehow this guilt is over. But there is perhaps one legacy of the war that you are left with, and perhaps in a way it's the basis of the case that the professors are taking to the German Constitutional Court. In a sense, the EU deal that you've got is in a way Germany's own form of war reparations, because you are paying the most enormous bill to support this European Union. You were paying an enormous bill in good times, but now we're headed for bad times. You're facing an absolutely extraordinary prospect. However bad the crisis may have seemed back in May, when Greece was in trouble and the bailout fund was put together, I'm pretty confident in saying that you ain't seen nothing yet. Because if there are problems in Greece, I think it's possible that the economic problems in Portugal and Ireland may in a couple of years' time be even worse than the situation in Greece. So this issue simply isn't going to go away, and frankly I think the German people have been taken to be the mugs of Europe. You're the ones that have been picking up the tab, and your politicians clearly are prepared to pay any price to maintain their European dream and their European project, and to hell with you, the people. So it's very, very apposite that you're here today. And the situation is getting worse because the ECB are busy buying up what are effectively junk government bonds in the marketplace, and this is going to lead to trouble. You know, the billionaire investor George Soros, who knows a thing or two about currencies, said due to its history, Germany is more worried about inflation than about recession. In the rest of the world, it is exactly the other way round. So I don't believe that Germany's interests are served by being part of this monetary union. I don't believe you can have Greece and Germany together in the same currency union. Perhaps in the end it will prove to have been just a cohabitation rather than a marriage. But I'm afraid your Chancellor Merkel seems to use every crisis that exists within the Eurozone or within the EU project, and she and her fellow fanatics, people like Martin Schulz, who leads the socialist group in the European Parliament and who simply can't control his rage and anger against me whenever I dare to say something against the project. But they really have manipulated this Euro crisis, and it's not just, of course, that you're being asked to bail out the countries in trouble, but there are now plans afoot to put in place a full economic government based in Brussels, whereby you as a nation would even have to submit your budget every year to the unelected European Commission for approval. So that's the way we're going. And I have to say that it is time the Germans stood up and said that you've simply had enough. You're not going to pour any more money into this system. And you of all countries, I mean, you are proud, I think, of what you've done in the last 50 or 60 years. You've worked hard. You've built a good economy. You've believed in the principles of sound money. And now you've been merged with countries with a Mediterranean climate and culture who look at things entirely different. It isn't that you're better than them, and it isn't that you're worse than them, but it is that you are different to them, and you should be managing your own country, your own economy, in your own interests. This whole project